Orkut during the elections. Orkut is gone right now. So, and Facebook is going to be less and less relevant, and I agree with him. There's many ways to run ads without using Facebook. So and on top of that, the data privacy discussion and laws and regulation, in my opinion, they're going to be on and on and on. It's going to be part of every election. We're going to have new discussions about data privacy and how people will handle their own data. And I just want to, I believe in transparency, and I agree that we have more transparency today than we had before. And more transparency, we empower people much more, and this is the key. I know this is a broad concept, but this is the key. And I just want to finish with something that the former president of Uruguay has mentioned in an interview last year. He said that we have done a real good job to make it and build consumers. We haven't done a good job in making and build citizens. And work on education, how to handle technology, how to handle transparency, how to handle data is the key to success.
Thank you. We have time for a couple questions. Yes, Tim.
Hi, my name is Tim Wu. I'm actually on the next thing, so I'm a little bit. So this has been an appropriately depressing panel, so that's kind of to be expected. But I wanted to, if the panelists want to speculate on something a little more structural in their solutions. With respect, whenever I hear people say transparency is going to fix things, I feel very skeptical. I feel like transparency is what you say when you have nothing else to say sometimes. Because, we've had tons of transparency with other things, and, what does it do? It just often encourages an arms race. I'm not saying it's nothing, but like the idea that we're going to have a couple transparency rules and fix some of the problems in American democracy seems to me ridiculous. The question I have is there anyone thinking about structural solutions? Is there, from people who've worked hard on elections and primaries, is there a way to make the primary, should we do away, primaries aren't set in stone, should we have primaries, should they be differently structured? Is there something more structural here that creates this kind of meaningless, the kind of bad campaigns that we're talking about? And could there be a more structural solution?
I think probably we should start with our two operators here. Is there a concise structural fix you would have to have saner politics?
Oh, thanks. God, that is tough. I don't have any great ideas from a standpoint how to, one thing, I think if you drop out, you shouldn't be on the ballot. I know, and I say that because we would have won Arizona if Marco Rubio hadn't been on the ballot, and he still was, but he collected enough votes because of early voting. I'm for early voting, but it's just let's say if I cast a vote and it was for somebody who dropped out, I should be able to get another vote, right? It seems to make sense. I think little things like that. But I'm hesitant to take away and change too many rules. If you made me king of America, I would make election day on April 16th, so you pay your taxes and you vote, because I think Republicans would never lose again. But, that's probably, Eli would probably be against that, so then I'd lose, and we'd be, whatever. I don't know that I have any great, so there's little things like that along the way that as we were dealing with the primaries and going through them. But I think all in all, I actually think our system works pretty well, and I may not always be happy with the outcome. Republican, I lose just as much, if not more, than I win. But having said that, in the end, I feel like voters usually make the right choice.
Segue to Eli. What about your structural ideas? Also, Maine with its ranked choice voting, which seems to have made a difference in Maine.
I'm glad you're talking.
I don't think any of these things are going to be like a panacea to fix American democracy, and certainly I think that what I'm saying about transparency might have the ability to mitigate the foreign interference that we saw in the last presidential election, but it is certainly not going to fix all of these problems. I think one pretty thing that should be widely adopted is just making voting a whole lot easier. Other countries make it compulsory to vote, and if you hate all of the politicians, you can write in Donald Duck or something like that. But it's amazing the lengths that I've seen a lot of different places go in order to stifle people from voting. I think it has a bad impact on American politics. I'm in favor of ranked choice voting. That being said, I also don't think that it's a panacea either.
So, Kathleen, you can have a turn, but also how about redistricting, like in California?
Yeah, I think we're engaged in a very interesting experiment in California. Let's see how it works. I'd like to see the primaries clustered in ways that focus on issues, so that we have primary states not kind of randomly distributed, the ethanol primary, and then we bounce to New Hampshire, but rather say, we've got some issues facing the country, let's cluster the primaries so the candidates address the issues that are more central to those parts of the country, so the public as a whole becomes more knowledgeable about the issues, and we get a clear relationship between their stands and what they will do in governance, and we have more capacity to hold them accountable. I feel very sorry for these candidates being accountable for everything in every debate, and then they only get one question that has nothing to do with the central platform they are offering. I'd like to see the opportunity for candidates to be advantaged in the area of their issue expertise, someplace across a national issue agenda, with the public paying some attention to them and it.
Do you have a structural reform?
No, I fully agree with my friend here. When I came to America first time, like many years ago, I said, oh my God, how is it difficult to vote here? And it begins with the day of the voting. Every country that I work in elections, we vote on Sundays. Here, you guys put the election in a working day. That's to begin with. So I fully agree. Making it easier, I think, is the basic to transparency. People don't know where they vote. So.
Is there one more question? As far as the back, yes, the purple dress.
Hi. So I have a question. Some of you spoke about the responsibility of... Oh, sorry. Hi, my name's Tara Walsh. I work for Community Change, a nonprofit in D.C. You guys were talking about the responsibility of press in all of this, and I think there's a lot of merit in that, but I'm curious that I didn't hear a little more responsibility on the technology platforms themselves, especially given how difficult it is to do good journalism at this moment. I mean, we're seeing layoffs recently, and the business model seems to be shifting. Facebook is making still tons of money on advertising, and that used to be how journalists made money on advertising and could talk about the things that people weren't chasing towards because it was crazy or what have you. So I'm just wondering if you have any response or thoughts on that as sort of the business model that the ecosystem is now favoring.
So I have a thought on that. My thought is blank blank men. That is, you are right. I think that the press companies are trying at least. I feel that digital companies are not trying as hard as they should. But who has? We're at our time limit here. Who has concise responses to that? Anybody want to say yes? The tech companies should be trying harder. Yeah. Okay, well, with that, I think that this is an upbeat panel, and yeah is the right way to end. So please join me in thanking our panel.